Hello and welcome to Kushti TV, always the straight talking YouTube channel where my specialist subjects are boxing, golf and I interview people of all other interests. Today's topic is boxing and I'm going to bring to light the post comments and my verdict of the Tyson Fury Dillian Whyte fight on Saturday at Wembley. Of course, WBC Heavyweight Championship of the world at stake. Now, I can clearly say, to me, it's probably the world's best post-fight debate and talk, because normally it's much more clear-cut, but there's lots to talk about from Saturday night's fight. Now, earlier before, you remember if you'd seen it, I brought in Tyson Fury's former cornerman, a Gypsy George Carman, who had cornered him as a professional on 4 occasions, I believe, including the British title. And he predicted bang on. He said that Tyson Fury will pick apart Dillian Whyte and knock him out in 6 or 7 rounds. And the 6th round it was. I wasn't too distant. I fancied he would control the fight and win 8, 9 or 10. So I was nearly on the right path, but my guest I've interviewed that day, George Carman, had it bang on. Now, before I move on, just let me touch on Fury's performance. I thought he made Dillian Whyte look very ordinary. I think it was an absolutely flawless performance by the Gypsy King. I like him slightly lighter. I think it was his best performance, arguably, if not a better performance, since he beat Vladimir Klitschko. He had a similar style. He was boxing, picking, and of course Sugar Hill's got him crunching down on his shots here and there, and when he does, his power now seems to be a devastating effect. So we arguably there could have seen the best ever Tyson Fury. Now, the debate, is he going to retire? Well, he's a very, very clever man. He's at 33 years of age. He's in the prime of his life. Trust me, that was a peak performance. Will he retire? In my opinion, of course he won't. He'll probably hang out, see the winner of Joshua and Usyk, and by being retired he'll probably stick another £5 million on his purse to be coaxed out of it, but he won't really be retiring. I'm fairly convinced he'll be training all the while. He's openly said it's so much better for his, of course, his physical side, but more importantly his mental side, but keep training. And that boy will not see the likes of Usyk and Joshua hanging onto some belts and that carrot dangling away. Trust me, I mean, how can I know other people's minds? But I think I have a good opinion. I think he's a 99% chance he will be fighting the winner of that fight. As I say, he's got good reason. He's the master at mind games, as he is a tactician. Anyway, let's move on. Some of the comments made. The Sun newspaper made a comment. It called it, I think, let me think of the word now. It was wasn't shocking. I think they used the word shocking scenes. That was the word they used. Shocking scenes that Tyson Fury's brother Shane had thrown water over Dillian Whyte. Now, we've got to bear in mind, there's some water being thrown over Dillian Whyte. Now, we're in the Hurt game. We're in the Heavyweight Championship of the world. We're in the real, you know, you have a license to hurt people in there. Of course we don't intend to. Let's keep it in nice content. Let's keep it what it is. We go in there, and remember Tyson Fury nicely said the main important thing is that we both come out of his ring unscathed. But they do take some big, heavy blows. They're the best fighters on the planet. And some water. The Sun reported some shocking scenes. This is the Sun newspaper, a big old paper, that one. Some shocking scenes. Some water was thrown at Dillian Whyte. Well, why was the water thrown? Well, of course, he's done a bit of the forearm push and smash under the neck to Fury. He got a bit of head in there, and then he continued trying some quite heavy. There was just little taps on the side of the jaw or the back of the head. They were quite heavy, swinging right hand round the back of his brother's head. Now, bear in mind, he's ringside, and he can see this, and he reacts with some water. It's hardly surprising. The water won't hurt him, but it might stop his brother getting hurt. He keeps getting it round the back of the head. So I didn't see that's too shocking. Natural reaction. Tell you, I was involved in a fight you know, I've done a bit. It wasn't the heavyweight championship of the world, but it was my heavyweight championship of the world. I'd come back in my 45th year. My opponent was 31. It was my big fight, and I had my fans there, and I was controlling things quite tidily. And I buzzed my opponent on the end of the bell, the second round, and he didn't hear the bell. You know, packed house. He didn't hear the bell because I think I buzzed him with a nice right hand. I was about to unleash, and I heard the bell, and I stopped in motion. As I stopped in motion, he continued punching, and he let an array of punches, probably 10, 12 punches at me, and he pushed me back into my own corner and with the punches. Thankfully for me, I managed to evade them, you know, with my arms and block them, etc., etc. But my boys were in the corner, two of my sons, and their reaction wasn't throwing water. They actually gave my opponent a clump. He was unlicensed fighting, and the great fighter, Mark Potter, brilliant domestic fighter, Mark Potter, he was reffing a fight, and you know, he was unlicensed, and my corner, you know, got reprimanded a bit, but it's a natural reaction. Like, you've got family in there. This bloke's trying to whip me after the bell, it's illegal. That's how my family, so that was a bit stronger than throwing water. I think when your family's in there, you know, you're going to react that way. Now, if you think it's just family reacts that way, I mean, who remembers the legendary, died in 2017, I believe, at a good old age, around 95 or something, Lou Duva. I used to love him. He got involved in more fights with his fighters. They weren't blood, they were his fighters. But boy, if somebody disrespected Lou Duva's fighters with a foul or something, you know, I'll show you a couple of clips there. Boy, did Lou Duva get going. Yes, of course. Look, have a look at that cut. He sustained a few himself. He'd taken some back, the former little fighter. But this is what happens. But water, the sun, I got it. That was shocking moments. The water was thrown on a big, strong heavyweight. Anyway, moving forward, Dillian Whyte. Well, Dillian, mate, I liked you before the fight, and I still like you. I think the British public like you, but come on, let's get real. You've openly stated that when you should have, you were fouled by Tyson catching you with a right uppercut, and he then push you. Yeah, so and you said that resulted in you falling down, hitting your head, and you got up, staggered, didn't make the count. And you also stated you were fairly in the fight. Well, I'm sorry, mate, I'm a journalist. I say what I think. I think you were, in the nicest way, outclassed. I'll give you a draw of the opening round, and then the rest of it was fury. I think you got stunned and hurt, it looked to me, in the fifth, and you got knocked out. And it was a punch I don't think Tyson thought he was going to knock you out. I thought it was a reaction punch. He hit me with a right uppercut, and he then thought you was evading his space, so he pushed you back. But the actual punch he didn't think was strong enough to knock you out, did knock you out, and as a motion, you know, you went down and you weren't senseless enough to stop yourself from falling and putting something red on the canvas. So I think in some ways you were lucky, because if he caught you and he didn't push you, maybe followed up with a left hook or something, you'd have been, you know, more hurt than you were. So I don't think you've done anything wrong in the fight. You come to take on, you know, you were showing art, you were trying to use some rough tactics, as you did in the case with Joseph Parker. It didn't quite work, mate. You've got to say that man completely outclassed you. You done nothing wrong. You got 5.5 million or so for the fight. You can go again. You're 34, not 54. You've got to relook at this, me old mate. We're in the game of the hurt business. You know, we all do a bit of pushing and roughing up. And Tyson was just a reaction. He catches you with a right uppercut, and he tries to push you, stops you, keeps you away from evading his space. He didn't expect you to be knocked out with the hit, so he reactionally pushed you away. The great Jack Johnson used to push his opponents away. Don't get in my space. Manny Stewart then taught Lennox Lewis how to do it some, and he certainly taught Vladimir Klitschko how to do it. Don't get in my space. And that's all it was. It was a right uppercut, and he thought you were somewhere in his space. He didn't expect you to be knocked out, and he pushed you. And it turned out that the punch did knock you out. But mate, he did outclass you. It was a beautiful display by him. You showed art. You'd done nothing wrong. Go dust yourself down, count your money, come back, and we'd love to see you back. And you will be back, and you've got to learn. You've got to learn from these masters. learn, you know, go back, have a look, evaluate, have a rest. You need that. You've been in tough camp, and have a look. Yeah, so I just thought there was some strange remarks made post comment, and yeah, so I'll be interested to find out what you think. The brilliant performance, that won't be the end of Fury's career, trust me. If all of you out there watching, I'll buy you a beer if you see me out there somewhere at a boxing show if I'm wrong, and that is the end of his career. But it won't be the end of his career. Great performance, Whyte. Courageous performance in the ring, Dillian. Dust down, mate. Come again. We'd love to see you out there doing it again. And thanks for giving us some good entertainment, both fighters. You did try hard, Dillian, but mate, it was just a step too far. Champion of the world you may be, but not in the presence in the ring of Tyson Fury. You're looking possibly for a rematch. But I don't think in the nicest way the public are that interested in the rematch, because the Gypsy King was bang on key, and it's not coming from a biased opinion. I just say what I see. So as I say, dust yourself down, good luck to you, and as Tyson said, you'll both all safe and well. And as I said, if he followed up with another left hook, you never know what may have happened. So let's just think that you got off your backside, made it to your feet, and you can count your winnings, mate. Move on, you train hard, learn from the master, because he's the greatest heavyweight in the world at the moment, and he's heading towards being one of the greatest of all time. Okay, thanks for tuning in. Please click and subscribe, and you subscribe this way and I'll keep giving out some material that way. So take care in the meantime. Click and subscribe. Stay safe. Good luck. Box safe. And protect yourself at all time, even when you're buzzed.